to the Emily J Pilates post-Christmas stretch. Just come into your all-four position, nice inhale and exhale, round in the back, up into your cat pose. Inhaling now to centre and exhale, taking a nice arch through the back, looking up into your cat pose. Inhaling to centre and exhaling up into cat. Just checking the shoulders are away from the ears. Pulling that navel towards the spine. Inhaling to centre, exhale, arching the back up into cow. Just checking those shoulders away from the ears again, into neutral and up into cat. Inhale to neutral and exhale, arching that back into your cow. So just making sure that your wrists are under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips. And just in your own inhale, exhale. Inhaling into the centre and exhaling into cow. And then just moving the hips from side to side here. Just releasing the lower back. I'm sure we've been sitting around that little bit more during the Christmas break. And then just holding on one side here and just pushing the body weight forwards and back. Just feeling that stretch down the bum and hamstring. So nice glute and hamstring stretch here. So all the weight on that one side, then over onto the opposite side. Pushing forwards and back again. Stretching through that glute. You can hold if you can really feel a nice stretch in the forwards or back position. And then just over onto that other side again, pushing the weight over onto that hip. And just working forwards and backwards, finding that perfect spot where you can feel that nice stretch, and over onto the opposite side again. Again, just pushing the weight where you feel it best. Really feel that stretch going down the glute and the hamstring. And now just coming into your waves. So bending the elbows, pushing the bum back towards the heels and lifting up in a nice wave, arching that back as if you're in a moving cow. Weight comes over the shoulders. Bending those elbows as you push the bum back towards the heels and waving through the spine. And then taking that the opposite direction. So pushing the body up over the wrists and then arching the back into cat as you come back towards the heels. So exhaling to come round in your wave and inhaling to bring the body back to the front on the wrists. Coming back to centre and taking your right foot, bringing it between the hands and then pushing that left foot back and sinking down into this glute stretch. I'm just checking that I'm in the frame again. So you want to make sure you're sinking into this stretch here. That front knee is in line with the ankle. And I'm just giving a few little bounces here. Just really pushing down. We've been sitting down more around Christmas period, so I want to make sure we're stretching out those hip flexors. Then you want to send the bum back towards the heels and straighten that front leg, coming into a nice hamstring stretch. I find the best stretch for me is when I'm up quite high. You can see here I'm just making sure I've got a nice distributed weight on both sides of the body, attempting to put it all onto that supporting back leg. You want to make sure you're really pushing through this hamstring, really letting that stretch develop. And then bending that front leg, coming back into that hip flexor stretch. Both hands are on the floor here. And then just making sure the shoulders are back and twisting through the upper spine here. So you're turning to face that bent leg in front. And looking up towards the ceiling. So you really want to be twisting through the upper back here. Just take a nice few breaths. back down, and twisting the spine. I'm just taking a little extra hip flexor stretch whilst I'm here. Then sending the right foot back. Oh, sorry, no, sending the bum back and coming into a nice hamstring stretch again. Just checking the weight's nice and distributed, shoulders back. Remember to find your sweet spot in this stretch. Your bum may come further down to the heels, you may be further up on top, wherever you feel that hamstring stretch best. And then bending that front leg into that hip flexor stretch one last time, and now you can send that leg back and bring the left leg forwards, right leg pushes back, checking them in the frame again. I'm bringing my hand onto the knee and pushing my spine back. Any lower back pain, keep your hands down on the floor. You could also lift that back knee if you wanted to, but I was enjoying this stretch here today. I was able to really sink down into the hip flexor. I was just practicing my breathing here, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Pushing the air to the back and the sides of the ribs, keeping the front of the ribs nice and together. Letting this hip flexor stretch develop. And then pushing the bum back towards the heels, straightening that front leg, going into a nice hamstring stretch. Again, playing around with what feels comfortable for you. Finding that nice long stretch down the back of the leg and holding it to let it develop. And then bending that front leg, coming forwards into that hip flexor stretch again. I was just messing about with my foot here. I was quite aware that I was not quite near the ankle. And I'm going to twist the body to face the knee. So taking that same upper body twist on the opposite side here. Just looking up towards the ceiling, towards the hands, pushing down through that hip flexor. Nice inhales and exhales, twisting through the upper back, keeping the hips quite square. Then I'm twisting the spine, coming back into that hip flexor stretch. Again, I was just taking a little extra stretch here by pushing my spine back with the hands on the knees. You can keep the hands down. Pushing the bum back, straightening that leg again. Nice hamstring stretch. Really stretching out these leg muscles as we have been sitting down more. Possibly not left the Christmas table the whole of Christmas Day. And then bending that front leg, little hip flexor stretch just to end this side of the stretching, and then sending that left foot back. Here I was just opening out my knees, bringing the toes to touch, pushing the bum back to the heels, and then exhaling, bringing the weight of the body forwards over the wrists. Exhale, pushing the bum back, and inhale, pushing the bum back, exhale, pushing the body forwards. So you notice I just moved my hands slightly forward there. That just helped me to feel a little bit more of a stretch through the hips. So inhaling, bum comes back, exhaling, pushing the weight of the body forward, drawing that navel to the spine and keeping those shoulders away from the ears. And then coming back into your all-four position. Making sure you've got a nice neutral spine here. And then inhaling to lift my knee and exhaling to send it round in a nice circle. So we're trying to make a nice circle with the knee and moving this from the hip joint. So inhaling, bringing the leg in, exhaling, sending the leg out in a nice circle. Almost trying to get the inside of the thigh to face the floor. Keeping the hips nice and level, nice and square. Shoulders away from the ears, pushing the back of the skull up to the ceiling. It's not letting the head drop between the shoulders, and swapping onto that opposite side now. Inhaling into centre, exhaling around. You can see my body's just swaying over a little bit too much onto one side. You want to keep that weight nice and evenly distributed, hips nice and square. I was feeling a bit tighter on this side, so I was struggling to get as big a circle. So I could have just made these circles slightly smaller, taking this action, this little circle the opposite way. Inhaling to centre, exhaling out and round. Maybe moving through that hip joint. And placing that foot back down into that all four position. And then pushing the bum back to the heels, coming into a nice child's pose. Stretching through the shoulders here. Bringing my forehead down to the mat, but just go to where it feels comfortable for you. You may have a smaller range today, you may feel more flexible, just staying within the range that feels good for you today. The bum might be a little bit higher, it might not quite make the heels. Just taking some nice resting breath, and then coming back up into your all four position. And you're coming into your thread the needle exercise. So you're inhaling to centre, and as you exhale, coming into a nice upper body spine twist here, bending the elbow, feeding the opposite hand through underneath the arms, and then inhale to centre, exhale, coming into an upper body twist, looking up to that hand. I'm just taking that thread the needle exercise on the opposite side as well. So bending the opposite elbow, feeding the hand through, and then exhaling up into a body twist. Inhaling, back centering, exhaling, threading the needle under the arm. Look towards the shoulder, hips nice and high. And then twisting through the upper body. So just an upper body twist here. You want to keep the headlamps on those hips pointing down towards the mat. And then coming back to your all four position again. I'm just finding it nice and comfortable here, making sure that my wrists are under the shoulders, and then pushing the bum high up into the air, coming into a nice downward dog pose. And I'm just pedaling out the legs here, so pushing the chest towards the thighs, and just bending the knees, coming up onto the toes on each opposite leg. And really trying to push that heel down onto the mat. Just make sure there's no tension in the shoulders, pull the shoulders away from the ears, and then bring them both heels down onto the mat. Then bending at the knees, bringing the body back down towards the mat, back into that all four position. Taking your right knee, bringing it up towards the wrists, and then pushing back in that left leg. So you want to come into a nice glute stretch. I'm just shuffling about to fit into the frame. But once your knee and your ankle is in a nice comfortable position, you're going to bring the body down towards the mat. You see I'm just shifting around, making sure I'm really feeling that stretch through the glute of the bent leg. You may be a little bit further up. You may not be able to quite get your chest down to the mat, so just play about here with where it feels really comfortable for you and where you can feel that glute stretch the most. And just nice inhales through the nose and exhales through the mouth. Just really enjoy this glute stretch. And then just walk the hands towards the body. Send the right foot back, bringing the left foot in. Left knee comes to the wrist. And then gently lowering the body down again. So again, just messing about with where it feels good for you. You may not be that your chest coming down to the mat is comfortable. You may be a little bit further up, and if so, just make sure the shoulders are relaxed. Pull the shoulder blades down the back. Alternatively, you could be in your all four position, just pushing the weight over onto one side of the body, like you did at the beginning, playing around with that sweet spot of where you can feel that nice glute stretch. Just holding for a couple of seconds. And then walking the hands back, up, sending that left foot back, and come into a nice plank position here. Just making sure that the wrists are directly under the shoulders, and then pushing the bum back, trying to get the chest towards the heels, towards the thighs, sorry, and then lifting one leg into the air, and then driving the knee in towards the chest. So you're pushing back into your three-legged dog, trying to get that heel to the mat, and then driving the knee in towards the chest, bringing the weight of the body back over the wrists. Try not to overly extend the shoulders over the wrists here. You want to be coming down into that plank. So swapping the legs here, driving the knee in towards the chest and back out into that three-legged dog. So nice exhale as you drive the knee in. Inhale to extend that leg back. Perfect. Stay nice and strong in that plank. And then dropping that leg back into that downward dog. Push the chest towards the knees. Just pedaling out any tension here as we did before. Shoulders away, push those heels down, coming up onto the toes, back down onto the heels, and then walking the hands towards the feet. And you're just down and just relaxing and letting some movement come into the shoulders, making sure they're nice and floppy. Trust that you can bring your upward body weight further over onto the feet. Now just hold on to the elbows and just swing them from side to side here like a rag doll. Just releasing all tension through my spine, through the shoulders. Feeling a stretch down the back of the legs. Make sure there's a nice bend in the knees here. Try not to extend and hyperextend the knees, locking the knees out. Just taking some exaggerated yeses here. And big nose, shaking the hair about. Big yeses. Release the tension in the neck. And a big no. And then letting the arms just flop out. I was just feeling a nice stretch down the legs here, coming up halfway, flattening the back, and then just rolling back down. Just seeing if I can go that little extra bit further. Coming back up, flattening the back, just a little extension, and then dropping. And then walking the hands back out into that nice plank position, dropping the knees, and then coming down completely onto the belly. The hands are in a nice 10 to 2 position, the legs are a nice hip distance apart. Try and pull the navel up off the mat as you extend both arm and leg, and then lift. Extend arm and leg, and then lifting them up into the air. So you're coming into your star here, just stretching and strengthening out the back muscles. So you're lifting opposite arm and opposite leg, pushing the back of the skull to the ceiling as you lift the head, neck and chest off the mat. Or you could just keep lifting opposite arm and leg. You don't have to lift the head and chest. If you do, just make sure you are pushing the skull to the back of the ceiling so you're not letting the head drop between the shoulders. Lift that kneecap so that you can pull the thigh up off the mat, squeeze the glute. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. Really extend through the limbs and then lift. And then bringing the hands to the chest. Either side of the chest, the elbows tucked into the sides. Inhale, exhale, coming up into cobra, lifting the chest off the mat. And then bending the elbows and inhaling to come down. Exhale, coming up, lifting the head, neck and chest, looking just ahead of the mat. And then inhale back down. Exhale up into cobra. And inhale down. Just working the upper back muscles here. Releasing some tension from the upper back. Bringing some mobility in. We have been sitting around that little bit more over Christmas. Seeing if you can come up just that little bit further. If it just feels comfortable to keep the elbows at a bend and not bring the chest up as high, please do so. And then I just bring in the shoulders back, bring in the arms back, bend in the legs, bringing the back of the feet into the palms of the hands, pushing through the palms. So trying to push those feet out of the palms and lifting up through the head, neck and chest, and also trying to lift the thighs up, coming into your rocking exercise. Just really feeling that stretch through the quads as you lift the thighs off the mat and really push the feet through the palms. And lifting through the chest and the head, so you can really feel that stretch through the chest and through the upper back muscles. You can hold at the top here, or you can keep coming down as you inhale. And then exhale, pushing the body up towards the ceiling. So a nice strengthening exercise, but you will feel a nice stretch through the back muscles and through the quads as well. And I'm just holding here, just really feeling that nice stretch through the quads. And then inhale, bringing it down, rocking the legs, letting the arms flop out to the sides, the forehead is on the mat. I'm just wiggling about, finding some comfortability here. And then bringing the palms up, flat onto the mat and placing the forehead onto the back of the hands, shoulders away from the ears. Just pulling that belly button up off the mat, nice engaged core. Taking some nice inhales through the nose and exhales through the mouth. Some nice resting breaths. And then bringing the hands back to the chest and pushing the body back into that all-four position, and then pushing the bum to the heels, going into a nice child's pose. Just stretching out those lower back muscles and the shoulder muscles with the arms stretched overhead. If this is uncomfortable, just bring those wrists to your hips. And then I'm just twisting laterally through the spine here. Walking the hands over to one side of the body, feeling that stretch down the waist, through the obliques. And then walking the hands back to centre. And moving laterally over to the other side. Taking that same stretch on the opposite side, so feeling that stretch down the opposite waist, side of the body. I'm just holding here for a couple of seconds. And then walking the hands back to centre. Nice chair pose one more time. And then walking the hands up towards the knees. And coming round. I'll turn to face you. Fixing my crazy hair. I knew it was crazy at this point after all of the head shakes and ragdoll. Oh, I'm feeling exhausted apparently. Just giving myself a nice little fix. And now lengthening up through the spine. So you don't want to push that pelvis back, you want to push those hips forwards so that you're not sitting back in the pelvis. Inhale up, exhale, rotating through the body, bringing opposite arm to opposite knee, twisting through the upper back and looking to the back of the room. Inhale to centre, exhale, twisting through the upper body again. And then bringing opposite arm to opposite knee and looking to the back of the room. So the hips stay nice and square, head lamps are facing forwards. We're twisting through the upper back here. And inhale into centre. And then bringing the arms down as you exhale. And I'm coming onto my back now. So I'm in the relaxation position. Nice hip distance apart. Checking I've got a nice neutral spine. I can fit 2 fingers between my lower back and the mat. And inhaling as I exhale, tucking the pelvis and vertebrae by vertebrae coming up into a spine curl. Inhale, the hands come overhead, and exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, and bringing the spine back down. The arms come over at the same speed until my bum is back on the floor. I go back into my neutral spine. Exhale, tuck that pelvis, and slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, squeezing the glutes, lifting the pelvic floor, keeping the hips nice and level, coming up into a spine curl. Inhale, hands come overhead. Exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, and bringing the spine down. Keep those hips at a nice hip distance apart. The spine should be all the way down as the arms make it down to the mat as well. Inhale, exhale, and tucking that pelvis, vertebrae by vertebrae, lifting the spine up into the air. You want a nice diagonal line between the knees, the hips, and the shoulders. Only bring the arms as far back as you can. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. As you can see, I don't quite make it all the way to the floor with my hands overhead. Once you're back down, quit onto the mat. You want to inhale, exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, tuck the pelvis, and then lift the spine. Nice, slow and controlled. Keeping the arms down the side. You need to keep the glutes nice and engaged and the hips nice and level, and just work your way up and down the spine. Vertebrae by vertebrae, just finding those little tight spots. We call this spinal massage. Just keeping the glutes engaged and the core engaged just protects the spine here. I'm taking quite a few pelvic tilts. I was really tight in the lower back on this day. I put my hands in the air just so you could really see what I was doing. As long as my core is engaged, my glutes are engaged, my spine's nice and protected, and I can just come up and down on the different vertebrae. Just trying to find those tight spots and loosen them out. You don't need to have your arms up. I was just doing this to make sure you could see my spine. I know it's sometimes hard to see when the arm is down. Just continue to enjoy the spinal massage. Here I was just taking bigger lifts up and down. I felt I'd loosened off those vertebrae, and then hug the knees to the chest, just rocking from side to side, massaging out that lower back. Just taking some circles here. And if you want to, you can come into happy babies, taking the soles of the feet into the hands and just rocking from side to side. Otherwise, you can just stay with hugging the knees to the chest. And then just dropping the legs. Just a few more rolls of the back. And then coming in to a nice outstretched long body. You're going to bring the arms to 12 o'clock, tuck the chin and vertebrae by vertebrae rolling up into your Pilates roll up, forward stretch of the hamstrings, restacking the spine, tucking that pelvis and vertebrae by vertebrae rolling the body back down to the mat. Inhale, bringing the arms back to 12 o'clock, tucking the chin and vertebrae by vertebrae. Coming up into your roll up, extending forwards into a hamstring stretch. And then inhale, restacking the spine. Shoulders, arms are at shoulder width height. And then tuck that pelvis, roll vertebrae by vertebrae. Taking this in your own inhale, exhale. Apologies, my camera did cut out, so I did have to fix this. So I've rolled back down to the mat and I'm just pulling my leg in towards the body and taking some nice hip rolls here. So a nice hip flexor stretch and just moving the leg around that hip joint, making as big a circles as you want, and then going the opposite way. So I'm trying to make quite big circles here, And then just rolling the ankles, nice circles of the ankles as well as you just hold that hip flexor stretch. And then placing that leg down and bringing the opposite knee in towards the chest. And again taking those nice hip circles. Again as big or as small as you want to. Nice exhale as you send the leg around, inhaling back in towards the chest. And then taking it in the opposite direction. Just mobilising, oiling up that hip joint. Then pulling the knee in towards the chest and taking nice circles of the ankle. In one direction for a few circles and then in the opposite direction. And then hugging both knees in towards the chest. And then I'm dropping the legs, bringing the soles of the feet together and then letting the knees fall out to the sides. You can bounce the legs up and down here if that feels comfortable. Or alternatively, you can just push down on the knees, trying to increase that stretch through the inner thighs and through the groin area. Shoulders are away from the ears. Nice neutral spine, bum is down on the mat. Nice chance to practice your lateral Pilates breathing. Breathing in, pushing the ears to the back and the sides of the wrist. And then bringing the knees back into centre and hugging the knees into the chest. Rocking side to side. Forwards and back. Come into a seated position however you find most comfortable. Crossing the legs again. Lengthening up through the spine, not letting that pelvis roll back. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, you're going to bend to one side, laterally flexing the spine. Inhale to centre. Exhale, taking that same stretch on the opposite side. Keep those shoulders away from the ears. Inhale to centre. Laterally stretching it over to the side. Inhale to centre. And taking that stretch up to the other side. Coming back to centre, arms come down, nice shoulder roll, and well done everybody. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you really soon.